And Vanessa, for when we switch taking notes, just let me know when you want to do it, because I think we could be pretty flexible there.
Sounds good. I'll Slack you, Diana.
Okay.
Hi, Maricela. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, hi, Amy.
Hey, Amy. And Maricela, whenever you get a chance, can you make sure that you could record however you want to record?
I think it's just sending you a request and then I should be good. Perfect. Thank you.
It's only taken us a couple years to get that down, but we totally have it down now. I feel like there should be like a Zoom Olympics or something where it tells you to, like, you get an instruction like make 3 breakout rooms with 5 people in one and 2 people in the other, and then you have to do it and see who does it the fastest.
Well, then that happens and then we figure it out and then Zoom updates and then we have to start all right back over again.
You know what? They would have the Olympics just so that they could mess with us. So then they'd be like, okay, well, this one was too fast.
Yes.
They do. I heard a rumor, and Amy, maybe you know about this, that there is something like that for Excel, like an Excel Olympics, which seems like the most geeky thing in the entire world, where they like give people these weird things to do with Excel and like time you.
Let's sign up. Just kidding.
Welcome, Jessica and Terrence and Michael.
Hello.
Hello. I love all your backgrounds. It's that the Air District background is a great background.
Our team on Maricela's team does a great job. They created a bunch of new ones recently too, and they're really nice.
Sometimes on my computer screen, when all of you are in the same row, it just looks like a gigantic landscape.
Oh, I'm gonna totally move everybody with that into the same row to look at that. That is awesome. We have a couple more minutes. This is probably the promptest group I meet with, I think, ever. Everybody in this group is just so on time. Vanessa, can you see the correct, oh wait. Can you see the correct slide now?
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
Diana.
thank you. And does it have a black box at the top? I'm trying to see if I can move the menu up there without messing this whole thing up.
You can see it, but it's not distracting.
Okay, I moved it over here.
It looks like we have a good group of folks, and it's officially 5 p.m., so we can kick off today's meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending tonight's meeting. Before we start, we're going to make sure everyone can participate in the meeting in whatever language you're most comfortable. Next slide, please. I'm going to go ahead and read the instructions in English and then pass it on to Lingüística for the instructions in Spanish. If you are a monolingual English speaker, please select the world-like interpretation icon at the bottom of your screen and then select English. If you're using Zoom via a telephone or tablet, you will select the 3 dots to see more options, followed by interpretation and then English. I will now pass it on to Lingüística to read these instructions in Spanish.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. Buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a su reunión. Nada más queremos recordarles de las instrucciones de cómo accesar el canal de español. Si están ingresando en una computadora y se unieron a través de una computadora, perdón, van a ver el icono de un mundo en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. Por favor, seleccionen ese icono y seleccionen el canal de español. También pueden silenciar el audio original para que nada más escuchen al intérprete. Si ustedes ingresaron con un teléfono móvil o con una tableta, sus opciones se ven un poquito diferentes. Van a tocar la pantalla y van a buscar 3 puntitos del menú que están ya sea arriba o abajo de su dispositivo. Seleccionen donde dice interpretación de idioma. Después seleccionan español, después nuevamente silenciar el audio original y por último el botón que diga done, listo o finalizado. Si necesitan ayuda pueden dejar sabernos en el chat para que les ayudemos. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tanya. And if you're at any time having trouble connecting to the correct channel, please do let us know so that we can help you get connected. Before we move on to the next slide, I'm going to manage interpretation real quick. So Tanya is moved to the Spanish channel. So give me one moment. Thank you for your patience. Next slide, please. Good evening again, everyone, and welcome to our February 2025 Shafter Community Steering Committee meeting. It's really great to be in the same Zoom room with you all again. I apologize if I sound a little congested. I'm recovering from a cold and I didn't want to miss today's meeting. As usual, Diana and I will be co-facilitating today's meeting. And as always, at the beginning of our meeting, there are some logistics that we'd like to review with you all. Before we get started, we ask that you please mute yourself and make sure your full name and organization are showing as your screen name. To change your screen name, you can click on the top right side of your picture or video. CSC members can add CSC in front of their first and last name. And all their participants can add their affiliation in front of their first and last name. Please note that meeting hosts may update your screen name during this meeting. Next slide, please. To support everyone's participation, we invite you to participate in today's meeting as much as you can. Please stay on mute unless you're speaking or planning to speak. If you're on the phone, you can use *6 to unmute yourself. Raise your Zoom hand to ask a question during a presentation, question and answer session. You can use *9 to raise your Zoom hand if you're participating by phone. And as a reminder, residents in the stipend program should stay for at least 75% of the meeting to be eligible for a stipend, and that is 90 minutes of a 2-hour meeting. Diana and I are here to support your participation as well as keep track of action items that pop up during today's meeting. So please let us know if you have any questions or technical challenges by unmuting, raising your hand, or putting something in the chat to let us know. As always, today's agenda is in support of keeping everyone updated as we wind down the Shafter 5-year implementation period and transition to year 6 and beyond, and is reflective of the needs of the Shafter community. As usual, we will start off with the welcome and introductions agenda item. That will be followed by a review of the action items tracker, which will be followed by a presentation on 5 years of Shafter SERP accomplishments. That will be followed by standing updates. a wrap-up and next steps item, and a public comment item. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Diana. Before we continue on to the first agenda item, we also wanted to acknowledge that we're not meeting in person today as we had originally planned. And we want to recognize that there are a lot of really challenging things going on in our communities, some of which include wildfires. There are scary times when a lot of us, our loved ones and people in our communities don't feel safe in our surroundings. And today's virtual meeting is our and the Air District's effort to be responsive to the Shafter community and the current uncertain environment. We know that this is really challenging for a lot of us, and so we really appreciate all of your flexibility with moving to a virtual meeting today. We also want to say that we're very grateful to you for sharing with us and with the Air District how you're feeling in these uncertain times and how we can best support you in your work to improve the air quality and health of the Shafter community. These open and honest discussions and putting your community first is one of the many ways that we have seen this group grow over the years that we've been working with you all. And one of the things that we really want to elevate as we talk later today about all that this group has accomplished in the past 5 years. And it's a big part of the reason that we have so many milestones to celebrate today is because we collectively learned so much from each other. And that's always something to celebrate. With that, I'd like to pass the mic on to Jessica from the Air District to make opening remarks.
Hi, thank you, Vanessa, and hello, everyone. I'm definitely bummed we're not here in person, but I hope that my enthusiasm still comes across on the camera because it really is a big deal. You'll see later on, I do have a presentation to really drive this point home, but we've been meeting with you all for over 6 years. We've been working on implementing the CERT for 5 years this month. Almost to the day. And so we're just really, really excited to be here today to really kind of start this year off, this new journey off on wrapping up what we've already accomplished while recommitting to you all of the things we still have to do over the next year and more. And so today we'll just talk a lot about what that recommitment looks like and also get a lot of feedback from you as we have over the past 5-6 years on how to make sure we accomplish all of those goals. So I just want to reiterate that I'm really excited, we're looking for a lot of engagement tonight. Even though we're not in person, we're still planning to bring the same amount of energy. So definitely appreciate ahead of time those that respond to some of the questions that we have, whether you raise your hand and you say it out loud or you participate in the chat. But I think that's the flavor of tonight's meeting is really just engagement and continued working together. So thanks, Vanessa, and thank you all for being here.
This is Vanessa. Thank you so much, Jess. Are there any questions or comments from folks before we move on to our next agenda item? Okay, with that being said, we can move on to the review of the action items tracker. As in all of our CSC meetings, our team writes down action items that pop up during the meetings and then shares them with you at the end of the meeting to make sure that we're all in agreement of what the next steps are and who's responsible for doing them. And then at the beginning of each CSC meeting, we review the action items together from the last meeting to check the status of these. So at this time, I'm going to pass the mic on to Rocio to share progress since our January meeting.
Thank you, Vanessa. This is Rocio. Good evening, everyone. I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen so we can get started with the action items. Okay. Can folks see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so today we have 2 action items to go over from the last CSC meeting, one in the completed section and another in the comment noted section. So I'll go ahead and get started first with the completed section. And so at the last CSC meeting, there was some suggestions from the CSC on where to deliver some calendars. So our team did take note of this, and Michelle on our outreach team did go down to Shafter a few weeks ago to distribute those calendars in the community. Moving on to the next section for the comment noted. And so at the last CSC meeting, there was also some great suggestions on locations on where to potentially do paving projects. And so we did go ahead and take note of all of those locations, and the district will continue working with the city and county on potential paving projects for the future. And we'll make sure to give any updates to the CSC as those do come. And that's the end of the action items. There's only 2 today, but I'm happy to pause and see if there's any questions.
Thank you, Rocio, for reviewing those. Are there any questions or comments or changes that folks would like to make to these action items? Not saying anything, so we can go ahead and move on. Next on our agenda, Just from the Air District will share a review of CERT measure updates and a celebration of all of your collective accomplishments that have happened in the past 5 years. We would like to let you know that we have more than an hour for this item, so we definitely encourage you to ask questions and share feedback if you have any to share. With that, I'm going to pass the mic on to Jess.
Thank you, Vanessa. And once again, thanks everyone for being here tonight. Hopefully, is everyone looking at my screen with my PowerPoint presentation? Awesome. Lots of great nods. I appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to start off this presentation just kind of taking a little bit of a step back. I think for probably mostly the folks on the CSC, so many of you have been with us since the beginning. So we wanted to kind of take a step back in time and remind ourselves how far we've come. And really, just so you know, there's so many new people at the Air District. I think besides maybe myself and a couple others on the call, the rest of us that have been through this process have been here longer than some of the folks on the call, including Harder and Company. So there's been such a big evolution over the past 5 years that I just want those of you who have been here since the beginning to really sit back and celebrate. We've even put it into some numbers for you. But then we'll also get to some notes on how you could give us feedback on, the next few years. So it's about looking back and also looking forward. Back in time, in 2018, October 31st, a beautiful Halloween night. I was not here, by the way, so I wasn't even here for the very, very beginning. We had our community kickoff meeting. And you can see here, it was definitely a much different type of meeting than we do now. It was more informative. It was definitely not this collaborative, roundtable environment. And then our most recent meeting was a meeting where not only were we collaborating and learning from each other and sitting next to folks that were residents and community advocates and government officials and business owners, but we also made a lot of progress in this meeting and clapped and enjoyed food together. And I think for those that have been with us since the beginning, it was just such a different feeling 6 years later than I think our very first meeting. So we just wanted to name that and acknowledge how far we've come, which would not have happened without the collaborative efforts and really each of us pushing each other in different directions the past 6 years. There's been so much flexibility on your end as community members, and we as a district have, really evolved because of the really the push that you've all had to make your community better. And so even just this picture alone reflects a lot of change, I think, and we're just really happy to share it. There have been 71 official CSC meetings. So that's just our evening meetings that we've held pretty regularly on the second Monday of every month, pretty much since that day. Just those CSC meetings alone, that represents approximately 142 hours. But all of you know, because a lot of you have been involved, that doesn't represent the hours I know you all spend with each other, with Bianca and Cesar and Gustavo and folks, just within your community prepping for the meetings. That doesn't include the agenda setting meetings I know you also all come to. That also doesn't include the subcommittee meetings. We had on top of that 9 subcommittee meetings, and we definitely have some more coming up. And then, of course, 5 years of CERPL implementation. So we did start in 2018, but as all of you know, the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, adopted the CERP in 2020 this month. So that's actually the 5 years. But of course, as we all know, we've been together much longer than that. So we just thought this was a cool graphic to represent all of the hours we've spent on this type of call. but also to represent so many more hours that we haven't even captured that we know you have all put into this. So thank you so much, and definitely pat yourselves on the back. If you're in a room with folks, I know some of you are, give yourselves a high five. I think there's just so much to be said for all the work you've all poured into this. And I think so much of it is clear when we talk about everything we've accomplished. So this is a slide on everything that we've set out to accomplish in our SERP when it comes to incentives measures. And we shared a little bit of this at our in-person meeting. We talked a little bit about this at our last meeting, but this is such an accomplishment. And I'm just going to say every community is different, but in Shafter, you have all pushed us so much. This is the furthest we've taken any one of our SERPs to this point. We've been able to move the SERP so much and to spend money where you all think makes the most sense to reduce emissions and reduce exposure, that every single one of these has been completed. And in some cases, you'll notice, well, wait a minute, didn't we just add more money? In some cases, we've added money because we like the measure so much and we keep adding funding to it. But in terms of what we set out originally to do in the Community Emissions Reduction Program, or that big document, the SERP, we've accomplished all of this. And we just want to remind you all that even though we won't probably be talking about this much into the future because we're going to focus on what we need to do, we will always memorialize everything we've accomplished, you know, every time we check in with you, kind of moving forward on our quarterly meetings. So we just wanted to share this with you. We thought this was such a cool slide. And like I said, in terms of other communities, maybe across the state, I'll just say that, but certainly in the district, you all have come the farthest in really accomplishing all of the SERP goals. I'm going to share a video. It's been a while. So bear with me. I'm going to share my screen. I'm first going to share a Spanish language video. So I'm just going to say this out loud for the interpreters. What I'm going to play right now will be in Spanish, and then I'll play the same video in English. And I think I'm sharing my sound, but folks, let me know if you can't hear.
Estamos en Shafter esta mañana en Floyd's Hardware, donde se está llevando a cabo nuestro evento de intercambio de Clean Green Yard Machine. La gente está trayendo sus antiguas cortadoras de césped de gasolina, dejándolas en nuestro desmantelador y llevándose una nueva cortadora de césped eléctrica Steel. Aquí en Shafter nos hemos estado reuniendo con los residentes durante los últimos 2 años para determinar qué medidas quieren implementar en su propia comunidad para ayudar a limpiar el aire.
Pues la mayoría todo. Aparte que nos está ayudando como comunidad, está ayudando a que no haya más pollution, más contaminación aquí en la ciudad.
Todo estaba fantástico, gracias por este programa.
I'm pausing. I saw something in the chat that some folks can't hear in Spanish, and I'm getting it's because they muted original audio. I wonder, does it make sense, interpretation team, to... Yes, you might hear it in English because you probably don't mute original audio. I wonder, is it too complicated to ask folks to unmute original audio just for this part? We have some time. I will start it over. It's a 1-minute video.
I'm wondering, Jess, this is Amy. Sonia, is that your recommendation, or should we just turn off interpretation for 1 minute so that everyone can hear?
Okay. I wonder then, I liked that idea, Dr. Ramos. If let's turn off interpretation and we'll turn it back on. I will play the Spanish and then English, and then we'll turn it all back on.
En español y lo van a volver a encender.
All
This is
right,
Vanessa. I just turned interpretation off. Let me know when you'd like me to turn it back on.
Estamos en Shafter esta mañana en Floyd's Hardware, donde se está llevando a cabo nuestro evento de intercambio de Clean Green Yard Machine. La gente está trayendo sus antiguas cortadoras de césped de gasolina, dejándolas en nuestro desmantelador y llevándose una nueva cortadora de césped eléctrica Steel. Aquí en Shafter nos hemos estado reuniendo con los residentes durante los últimos 2 años para determinar qué medidas quieren implementar en su propia comunidad para ayudar a limpiar el aire.
Pues la mayoría todo. Aparte que nos está ayudando como comunidad, está ayudando a que no haya más pollution, más contaminación aquí en la ciudad.
Todo estaba fantástico, gracias por este programa.
Okay, I'll play English and then we'll be done.
We're in Shafter this morning, Floyd's Hardware. We've got our Clean Green Yard Machine trade-in event. People are bringing in their old gas-powered lawnmowers, dropping them off at our dismantler, and they're getting a brand new electric steel lawnmower.
Here in Shafter, we've been meeting with residents for the past couple of years to figure out which measures they want to implement within their own community to help clean the air.
Something that I really love is that it's a community effort. It's an effort that residents have been fighting for a while, and now it's finally coming up.
Saw a promotion for the battery-operated mowers and said, you know what, better than the gas fumes, get the electric.
We can turn interpretation back on, Vanessa.
Vanessa, interpretation's back on.
Stop sharing because I can't get interpretation when I share. Okay. I am in the English channel. Are folks, can I get thumbs up from some folks in the Spanish channel that they're back and hearing Spanish? Awesome. Great. Okay. I think a few of you are probably wondering why we shared that, right? It's an old video. You're very well aware of the program. But as a reminder, and I think Bianca says it really well in the video, when we first launched this program, it operated the same way that our district program did, other than the fact that it had more money per person. And the idea was that folks, and it still operates this way if you want to, but folks would have to go purchase their own lawnmower, find a dismantler, and kind of do the whole process themselves. And you all really advocated for the fact that folks, in order to participate, really needed those barriers removed. And so I remember, I think some of you, Bianca, I'm sure you remember this, we were trying to brainstorm, okay, do we drive a truck around and pick up lawnmowers from all the houses in the area and then drop off new lawnmowers or drop off like vouchers? And it was this whole concept that eventually we came up together with this idea of this drive-through system. And you all were the very first to do it. And we've now done it, I think, 7 or 8 times across the AB617 communities. So it's just such a great testament to the creativity that this program has brought, and really the difference not only have you all made in Shafter, but in all the 617 communities in the district. We have done this type of program, not much different than we operated it that day across all of the communities. And so huge thanks to you all and huge shout out to you. These lawnmowers really make a big difference to folks. Even if they're not making a huge air quality impact, they're certainly impacting the health of those that are mowing their lawns, but also making community residents feel like they're a part of the solution. So we're just really excited to remind you all of that. All right. So one thing that we thought was kind of a fun little tidbit is every residential incentives measure that still has funding in it is still continuing this year. And so what we wanted to focus on today was talking really about these 4 measures in particular, because they still have funding and because a lot of you are residents or work with residents. We wanted to get some feedback from you, not only on how these measures have gone, but also how you think we can keep getting these measures to be even more successful this year. Even though we still have time to spend the money in this next year, we are really saying, okay, now that we've completed everything else, we want to focus on the measures that remain. And because of that, we have a target of trying really hard to complete these measures and get as many residents and, as a part of these measures as possible. So we do have a couple of questions for you. And in person, this would have been different, but we are pivoting a little bit. And so I want everyone, and if you're in a group right now working with folks, talk about it. If you're not, think about it just for maybe 30 seconds. Think about all the residential measures that we've accomplished, whether we're still implementing them or they're complete. And I know you guys are probably proud, hopefully, of all of them, but we're just kind of curious. We want to know what's one that you are the most proud of. Just think about that for a second, talk amongst yourselves. That's wood burning devices, residential lawn and garden, so that's the lawnmower exchange, residential vehicle repair, residential vehicle replacement, and residential air filtration, which, as you all know, kind of is expanding into daycares, elderly care. So maybe think about it, talk about it. And no pressure if for some reason everyone's proud of the same one, but I am gonna kind of just see, is there anyone that their number one resident focused measure that they're most proud of is wood burning devices? You can raise your hand, you can put it in the chat. Is there anyone whose number one measure that they're most proud of is the residential lawn and garden? Thank you, Maria. Annabelle and Bianca say the lawnmower and the air filtration. Anyone whose measure they're most proud of is vehicle repair. All right, what about vehicle replacement? The $20,000 for a new electric vehicle. Akio works on that program, and I'm proud that you're proud of that, Akio. Thanks for raising your hand. Anyone else feel like the vehicle replacement measure is the one they're most proud of? I see lots of support. Ah, proud of it all. I'm with you, Michelle. Okay, air filtration. The air filtration unit for free directly to residents' homes. Who's the most proud of that one? Brianda, Sarah Hassan Lane, raising the roof there. It's fun when folks who work on that program are proud of it. Maria, Michelle, Linda. I think this is another cool example of you are all most proud of a measure that wasn't originally in your SERP. And that's another cool thing we've done this whole year. And I don't even know, for some folks that might not know this, who might not have been around the whole time, this was a measure that the Shafter Community Steering Committee voted to shift money from a measure that wasn't moving forward to create a new measure and get residential air filtration units out. That's awesome. Thank you all for sharing. I think that's a measure these answers are important to me because you'll see the next few are related to this. And I'm going to remember that residential air filtration was everyone's favorite when I asked my next few questions. All right. This is where it would be great if we could raise hands or put it in the chat, whatever you want to do. Raise your hand or put it in the chat if you have participated in one of our grant programs. And the reason this is important, because you all talked about air filtration, is if you are a resident of Shafter, you, at the very least, hopefully have let us know. And if not, even just tell me right now and we will sign you up. You get an air filtration device directly sent to your home. Michelle will make sure it happens. She has this big target. Anyone want to raise their hand that they've maybe aren't sure, maybe haven't participated in one and they're not even sure if they're eligible? Oh, such a great story, Branda. And I'm just going to read this out loud. She had her grandma participate in the air filtration measure, and it has made a huge difference in her quality of sleep. Oh, that's such a great story. Michelle, did you raise your hand because you haven't participated and you're unsure, or did you want to share?
I'm sorry, the controls changed on my screen. I did do the air filter program and I got a lot of my family to do it. And actually someone just asked me about it today if they were still doing it. And I said, yes, I'll send you the information. And
Please.
so I did that. I have been on the list to do my fireplace. I've gotten my voucher. I just haven't pulled the trigger. I had to renew it a couple times. I don't know. It's a little unnerving for some reason to me, but I need to get it done. I think it'll be very nice and a nice feature.
I'm glad you shared that, Michelle. It's possible that our other folks are kind of unnerved by that as well. The fireplace one is a little different. It's not like you get a new device and you plug it in yourself. You have to have some work done, right, in your home, which I can see that being, you have to pick out a device and all of that. So this is and I'm sure you know this, Michelle, but this is my public service announcement that some of the Air District folks you see here today are here just to hear that and to know, I want you to know that you can contact us. And one of these very friendly faces is really, really excited to help you out. And not just you, Michelle, who I know you've gone through a lot of other, like you're pretty familiar with our grant programs, but even just you acknowledging that is helpful for others to know, okay, it's not just me. I don't need to be shy about reaching out. And we'd love to help make that process a little bit easier.
I did have somebody try to do one of the fireplace and it did not go well. They actually caused damage and they were asked to leave. So that made me even more hesitant. You know, I have an old style, you know, not my house is old, so it made me even more hesitant. But I just looked at the paperwork. So I've flipped through that today and I said, I need to get that done also.
Good to know. And also that feedback you just provided is also good for us to know because we actually contract with the retailers who sell the devices. And so if we need to know maybe some feedback about the retailers, that's really important. So thanks, Michelle. And definitely let us know if you haven't already shared with the incentives team. We can talk again about that. Awesome. The reason we asked this question is we have found, and I don't think it's true here, but if not, if you're too shy, I am not here to shame anyone, but we have found in a couple of other communities where folks have been on the CSC and they still haven't, at the very least, been able to get or haven't tried to get an air filtration device. And I think, you know, Annabelle and I mean, it looks like several folks have expressed just how much it's helped them to have that device. And so hopefully if you don't want to talk to us about it, reach out to Bianca or Annabelle or Brianda and talk to them about the device and how their family members like it. And they'd be willing to help you feel comfortable. And we can sign you up right this second. So let us know. Feel free to reach out to us privately if you're shy to admit that you haven't signed up yet. Awesome. All right, this question gets to really what we're getting at today, which is outreach. And I think a lot of you are so good at this, and I think this is why we've been so successful in our SERP so far in Shafter, is you are all an important piece of our outreach. We'll talk a little bit more about all the other district outreach we do. You've heard Michelle give lots of updates on the work that she does in the community with, you know, our outreach team. But the biggest advocate for these programs is hearing that you all have gone through them or you are all experts in them, because you really are. And so I'm hoping if someone can share with me, I think Brianda was a perfect example of, and Michelle just did it as well. If you all can share, whether you put it in the chat or just raise your hand to indicate that you have told someone about the CSC or SERP grant programs, whether it's air filtration, you invited someone to the lawnmower exchange events, you've told someone about the free vehicle or, you know, cheap $20,000, not necessarily free, new car replacement that they can get. Anyone want to say that they've done that? I know I heard a couple of other folks share that they've been doing that. Well, while you're thinking, one of the things we did in our last meeting with Fresno, and I want to do it with you all as well, is we're going to assign you super fun homework. This is not, high school. It's not going to be scary homework you have to do the night before, but maybe the night before is okay too. But you'll hear that our next meeting will be our in-person meeting, which is rescheduled for May. And we're going to give you homework. And we would love it if everyone on the call reached out to 2 people that have yet to take advantage of the programs about any one of the programs, but in particular air filtration devices, because it's pretty straightforward. But if you can tell us, and it's, Scout's honor, let us know if you've reached out to 2 new people who haven't taken advantage by our next meeting, and we'll check in with folks and you all can kind of compare notes. Maybe someone's reached out to 10 by May, and you guys, we can get a little bit competitive. I think Michelle brings up a good point, and I love that. We can give you more outreach material and whatever you think is going to help those folks participate. So yes, Michelle, we'll note that down. We'll see if we can note down to send Michelle some flyers. And I love this. Annabelle had her neighbors participate in the lawnmower program and air filtration. I love that. All right. So you don't have to say it out loud, but let's all just commit. I will bring 2 folks information between now and May about all of these great programs, and many of them free for my community members. So that's our mantra for the next few months. Awesome. Okay, so this is really where the feedback comes in. We believe that it's a combination of different types of outreach that we need. Personally, I think from an air district perspective, air filtration, as you all know, can use a lot of outreach. We've also expanded the program, and you all have done such a great job in giving us some key places where we can do elderly care outreach and child care outreach. But we just also wanted to know, do you all feel that any of these other programs need enhanced outreach or education? Meaning, I think Michelle's point about kind of how to go through the wood burning device replacement is maybe one example. Is there any other feedback you have for us on any particular program that we're still really targeting this year on extra outreach we can be doing, or maybe focused outreach we can be doing? And you don't have to just choose one. You can say all of them. And feel free to raise your hand, put it in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. I think normally I would say, oh, well, no one has any feedback, then that means we're doing an excellent job. But we are our own, worst critics. We also have the data in front of us, so we know that more outreach can be done. So like I said, I'll share with you that residential air filtration is a big component of our, new outreach kind of focus this year, as is, I would also say, residential vehicle repair. We have, been making such great progress on that, and we definitely have some room to go. But both of those are kind of our big focuses. And if no one has any argument against that, that will continue to be our big focus this year. Philippa, they all need more outreach here. Some people think it's too good to be true sometimes. That's such a great point, and something that our teams hear so often. We got a question in another community. Actually, you all, for a pretty small community, are doing really, really well on air filtration, like on a community member by community member basis. We have a community that's way bigger with the same amount of funding, and they've done fewer devices. And a lot of it is because of that comment. A lot of it is because people don't trust that we're going to give them something free, or they think that maybe there's some strings attached to it, that they're going to give us their information and not get something, but maybe something, more sinister, or, we're digging into something. And I think all of you know that to not be true. And I think that's really why as much outreach as Michelle and her team can go out and do. Michelle is getting to probably be well known now that she's gone to a lot of events, but people don't know Michelle on our team as much as they know, Michelle McManus and Shafter, or, Annabelle or Linda. Like, they know who they've seen their whole lives, and they trust you all more than they'll ever trust us, no matter what, right? Brianda, I don't know if you have something similar to share.
Hi, thank you. This is Brianda with CSC, and yes, I was just going to echo what was just mentioned. I know that even having my grandma sign up for this, she was skeptical, and I was the one telling her, and she loves and trusts me. And I was telling her if she's told any of my aunts, and they all said the same thing, that it was too good to be true. So, but she did suggest that it would maybe be helpful if you guys went to. I don't know if you guys are allowed to do this if this is already part of your outreach, but she was suggesting to go like to their church service, or like kind of do some targeted outreach there, or like the senior center. I know sometimes older folks are the hardest to get to see the benefit, just because they have a lot of experience in seeing all the frauds that's been going on. But yeah, that was, I just wanted to highlight that, because I know that is a barrier for the filtration program. I don't know. I feel like it's a really easy process, but I don't know if we can streamline it a bit more. Yeah, that was all for me.
You are not the first person. We have someone who works here at the district, not in our program, but just in an similar program, who tried to get their family members. So even one step closer to the program than you are, that tried to get their family members to sign up, and they still haven't, and it's been some time. So, I think your point is so valid. I know we've been going into a lot of community centers. I don't know, I mean, not to put you on the spot, Michelle, but can you kind of give us, I know you've done an outreach update, and I know you generally have kind of like upcoming things. We've done community center outreach at some of the like dropped off flyers or things, or do you have other things to share about that, Michelle?
Hi, Jess. This is Michelle from our outreach and communication team here at the district. Just kind of wanted to give a quick update, or let you guys know that, yeah, we have done some outreach at community centers. We've done some churches, as well as like food distributions that are also held at some of those places, including schools, which I know we've seen some of the CSC members there that come out and support us. I know we've seen Dora at some of these events, and she'll come up and pick up, more flyers, knowing that we're in the community, and she can help us, hand out more information, whether it's in the Mexican colony or, just to people that she knows, and make sure that they know that we're in town at that moment, just so they can send them over to us. But yeah, we're, like I've said, in previous meetings, we're always happy to get feedback from you guys. Let me know if there's an event going on a weekend. We're more than happy to make the trip out there. I've dropped also my contact information in the chat in previous meetings, but I can drop it again in this meeting chat, just so they have a direct line. If someone wants to talk to a person and not be able to fill out the application on the internet, if they want to give us a call, we're more than happy to do it over the phone, through text messages. We just really want to meet the people like where they are and help them in whatever way that they need to be helped. Like I said, whether it's email, phone call, text messages, we're happy to help them. I think Michelle or Brianna has their hand up.
Let's maybe go, I think in order I see is Brianda and then Michelle.
Thank you. This is Brianda again. My question is, I'm not sure if this is something that maybe would come out of like the budget, the whole budget in itself, but like have we thought about doing maybe like a door-to-door campaign? I know Shafter's not that big. We can, target section by section, or I'm not sure if that's like within the capacity of the Air District team, or maybe we can provide stipends to some CSC members. Just wondering if that's something that's been explored.
Oh, yes. So that actually brings me to my next point, which thank you for bringing that up, is we've spoken at this meeting, but definitely this is a good reminder. And I think we've talked to a few of you about this That exact concept is something we can fund a community group or group of community members to do. We have mini grants, and this is the exact type of thing we want to use mini grants for. And that concept, Branda, if you at CCAC and another group maybe tackling a different part of the community we can reach out to you with the application. And actually, maybe while I'm talking, Rocio, if we can grab the mini grant application, we can drop it in the chat here and anyone can take a look at it and call us and work with us. For those, I think a few on this call have received one for other things. It is a very straightforward application. We are just looking that, what is your target audience? What outreach are you doing and why? And we do, I believe it's up to $2,000 for groups to do outreach. And so we would love, love, love for that to happen. And I think we're hearing tonight that that the community members, and that's why I went to this next slide, because it's exactly what we're talking about, that partnering with, whether it's EJ groups, resident groups, to either flyer or go door to door. It doesn't have to be door to door. If your concept is that you are hosting an event and you want the event to be surrounding this particular, type of outreach, that can also be funded. So great idea and great suggestion. Awesome. Okay, so Michelle McManus and then Felipa.
They have started First Fridays again. It just went on the calendar in Shafter, downtown Shafter. The first one's March 7th. And then they have one so they just started those again. They have 7 on the calendar. Maybe, I was there at the Air Board one of those First Fridays last year, and people's reaction to the Air Board is very interesting. And maybe if we could have volunteers help man the stations, residents, that, maybe we could volunteer to help it. Because, you might know the person's name instead of just standing there and handing out keychains or pins, I was there and I tried to get someone to do it. They kind of looked at me like, come on, and then some people are just very, don't want to do anything like that. So, but maybe if we had people volunteer that knew the community or maybe more visible in the community, maybe that we could get more people that way.
That's a very cool idea. I like that. I know Michelle has gone to those First Fridays, like you said, and I'm sure wouldn't hate some help. Michelle Rivera. I know I'm talking lots of Michelles, and in my mind, I know who I'm talking about. But I'm sure Michelle, the two Michelles can meet and do work, but other folks can join the Michelles. Felipa.
Maribel, no es Felipa, con referente a tocar las puertas, hoy en día, el problema que tenemos es de que, para empezar, nadie quiere abrir la puerta a una persona que ande tocando. Y segundo, cuando le abras la puerta y le ofrezcas un producto gratis, lo primero que van a pensar que les quieres robar, porque necesitan una información para poder llenar la aplicación. Segundo, recordémonos que ya los que venden paneles solares ya nos tienen hasta arriba de que nos tocan las puertas. Yo soy una persona que si a mí me llegan a tocar la puerta y me ofrecen algo gratis, yo rapidito saco un perro de donde, aunque no lo tenga, y se los quiero echar porque sé que no es verdad lo que me están regalando, que me quieren regalar algo. O sea, que recordémonos que el fraude existe y hoy en día está peor. Yo acepto ser voluntaria si vienen y donde haya juntas a informar a la gente. Por ejemplo, solo fíjense un ejemplo. En el segundo programa que hubo de repartir las máquinas, un muchacho iba repartiendo volantes a cada carro para los filtros de aire gratis. Ahí fueron 322 personas. Les aseguro que de esas 322 personas, nadie pudo haber pensado, o fueron muy pocos los que fueron a agarrar un filtro de aire. ¿Por qué? Porque todo mundo piensa, y el problema está en que todos quieren robar. Nadie piensa que es verdad que te pueden dar algo gratis. Entonces, si fuera así tan fácil, esas 322 personas se hubieran agarrado un filtro, pero no lo hicieron. ¿Por qué? Porque no confiamos hoy en día en nadie. O sea que es mejor, como dice, donde se hagan juntas y tratar de convencer a las personas que realmente es gratis el quien lo quiera hacer, pero realmente se está haciendo difícil por la situación que tenemos. Máxima hoy con esto de migración, ustedes van y tocan la puerta, ¿quién les quiere abrir? Error, nadie. O sea que eso no funcionaría hoy en día, porque recordémonos que muchas personas están asustadas, tienen miedo. O sea que no, yo pienso que no, o sea, a no ser definitivamente se ha tratado mucho de que las personas en Shafter se agarren un filtro, pero por lo que veo se está haciendo medio difícil. No vamos a alcanzar la meta de que cada persona tenga uno, por lo mismo de que hay muchas personas que están desconfiando de los programas, del sistema, de todo. Es lo que pienso yo.
You bring up such a great point, and I'm glad you shared because, it might take a couple of different, obviously, I think will take a couple of different ways of approaching it. Because even now, right, some people have signed up only because Annabelle signed them up. And that was the only way they would do it. Some people only signed up because they received a flyer, and for whomever they received a flyer from, like the school, maybe they felt safer. And so I think maybe however we can do it, we might have to approach it multiple different ways. The knocking on the door thing totally makes sense. And I'm glad you shared that. That might, not be an efficient approach because maybe no one will open the door. But I do like the idea. And again, we can fund it through a mini grant of funding a group, a community group, to host a meeting. Because again, I think if it's a district hosted meeting, we're probably at the same point, right? Where they're not trusting, me or Michelle or whomever. But if it's a meeting hosted by you all, folks might be a little bit more willing to participate. Thank you. Bianca.
Yes, I was actually speaking to Annabelle about it, and she wants to apply with her committee, maybe going to the church after a mass and passing out flyers. It's recognizable that these ladies have been participating in all these events with church activities, and they would really love to do that. Maybe in the mornings do a walkthrough and passing out flyers. It's important. One flyer means one change in their communities. And as you mentioned, knowing other folks or passing it to their neighbors does make a chain of effects. So they would like to participate. They're literally telling me, when are you gonna apply? So we'll be doing that here with the committee, with some of the ladies that are going to be participating in there.
We look forward to that application. Send it our way. And just because you all heard that from that group, if there's another group of you that also wants to do outreach, let us know. We can make sure that there are two events, maybe targeting two different types of outreach. We have funding for a couple of grants. Yeah, I liked, Mirabelle put that she likes the idea of local residents being invited as ambassadors to events. I thought that was such a great idea. Michelle, very cool. I think all of these are things that we can implement. And this year being our focus, one of our main focuses, we can commit to getting all of this done. Ooh, I had the numbers. Felipa just asked, do we know how many filters? I don't have them off the top of my head. I know it got emailed out, and if someone on my team or Sarah maybe has it right now.
Yeah, I'll get that.
Awesome. So I'll have Sarah, Sarah, you can raise your hand and unmute and interrupt me in a minute. Sarah will share right now, up to date, up to the moment numbers from Shafter. Any other questions? My next slide is I do have some slides that are pictures, actually speaking of all the outreach we've done. Are pictures of all the types of outreach that we have been doing and have done. And I think to your point, you all know that we do these types of events, but I think the ambassadors idea and the mini grants idea will help us. Any questions before I talk about next steps? There is
Just
also the
Sarah.
district. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry about
Please
that. I
interrupt
have
now.
that number. So we have 1,197 units that we gave out in Shafter so far.
And we have enough funding for about 5,000, but we've now taken some of that funding for daycare and air filtration. So enough funding for about 2,000, a little less more.
Exactly.
So lots more, to put it in scientific terms. Bianca, can I ask you to clarify? There is also the district funding for the filtration. You mean beyond 617? Is that your comment there? Sorry, Bianca, if you can clarify. Outside the boundaries, correct. So just so you all know, if you know friends and they don't live in Shafter, even though of course we want to spend the money, the Shafter money will always stay in Shafter. We separately in Kern County still have funding for what we call district-wide, valley-wide air filtration. So if you're like, what, my family lives in Lost Hills or in Bakersfield, they can still apply if they haven't already. It's a good reminder. Awesome. Linda, please.
Do you have something on a flyer that does specify that for the folks that are out of Shafter area that we could pass out?
We have flyers, and I believe the flyers are just apply to our air filtration program. Is that correct? Everyone, it doesn't, I think we might, do we have Shafters? But maybe I can ask Sarah and Michelle to clarify kind of what our flyers look like.
Yeah, this is Sarah. We have AB617 community specific flyers, and then we have a general flyer too for the Valleywide program.
And we can send those to you all. Either one of them will point them to the same place. The reason we have it separate is in some counties, we don't have Valleywide funding anymore, and we only have AB617 funding for those communities. But in Kern County, it's open actually for both. So when we send you all flyers, we're happy if those who want kind of the general flyer, we can send that to you as well.
Can I have some general flyers sent? And is the incentive the same?
Yep, it is it is the same exact process and program. They won't actually even know what funding source they're using.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk about next steps. Unless I missed something else. Okay, I think we're good. All right, well, that brings us to just some next steps. So as we discussed the last few meetings, we are transitioning to quarterly CSC meetings. And because we weren't able to be in person, we are very eager to see you all in person. I'm just gonna spoil it for you. We wanted to bring a cake to celebrate. So we'll just have our cake in May, which maybe, it'll be lighter and sunnier outside. It might be a more fun time anyway. So the quarterly meetings will kind of be a little bit less like this, maybe some feedback on outreach, and a little bit more how most of our other meetings have gone, where we have a list of measures, we have progress that we've made, we have targets for what we want to do next. As always, they will be CSC meetings. So those who are resident members who take a stipend, you will still get a stipend. And because we have a pretty regular schedule of what we're going to accomplish at each meeting, we will not have agenda setting meetings. We will keep having subcommittees as we need them. One of the great examples of that is we are planning a vegetative barrier subcommittee in March. As you might have remembered from last month, we do have 2 applications in-house right now that we're finalizing review for, and we want to review them with you all at the Vegetative Barrier Subcommittee. We don't have a date. We will send that all to you very shortly. But at that meeting, you'll have a chance to ask questions and learn about the 2 proposals that came in to plant vegetative barriers in places you all indicated you want barriers. So we're excited about that. And that is one example of hopefully other subcommittees as we see that fit. So even though we're going to quarterly, any work that needs to get done, we are committed to helping you all work on. And then finally, as I mentioned a second ago, but it's May 12th, it will be our normal CSC meeting day, and it will be at the Ford Theater, and there will be cake. So that's the most, probably the most important part of the meeting. And that's my update. Any questions before we move on? Awesome. Well, I hope a couple of things that you took away from this, and I saw lots of pride, good pride in the chat of all of this. You should all be very proud. I know I saw my team really proud, which I think is, again, like a testament. I know for a fact that folks on our call, on our side, are proud and excited, to be able to give you all programs that you are all excited about. And then I'm also I'm in a nostalgic mood, and I keep reflecting, like I said, on 2018 versus 2020 versus 2025. Like, so much has changed in each one of those milestones. And I know you all feel it too. And I just want to, obviously this isn't, we have more meetings to come, but I just want you all to know that it's been a really cool 5 years and lots of good work is being done. And hopefully we'll continue to see air quality improvements, not just in your homes, but outside as well. So congrats. And with that, I think I'm passing to Diana.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. Before we transition, just want to give another pause to see if anybody has any more questions for Jessica. Well, as we move on, feel free to continue to put questions in the chat if they occur to you as we're moving on. So now we're going to go to the standing updates part of our meeting. And this is when the various groups that join our meetings get to give you all an update about what they're doing and how they could support all of our work together. So we're going to hear from the California Air Resources Board, from the Air District, from the Department of Pesticide Regulation. Harder and Company has a brief update also, and then we'll open it up to any other organizations that want to give a brief update. So I think the first one is CARB. I think I saw Mike. So whoever would like to do the update from CARB, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. This is Mike Alves from the Office of Community Air Protection at CARB. We have no specific updates, but I just wanted to relay also what Jessica said. It is one thing to have lots of strategies and plans and expectations for a program such as this, but it's another entirely to actually accomplish it and have so many achievements within the SERP. So I, as well as many other people at OCAP, at CARB, are very proud of the Shafter community. And so kudos to you guys, CSC, the Air District, and everyone else. Thank you. It'll be all from CARB.
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody have any questions for Mike from CARB? Now passing it to, I think it's Michelle from the Air District is going to give an update.
Hi, Diana. Thank you. I'm just going to give you guys a really quick update. I'm going to share my screen.
We can see your screen.
So again, everyone, my name is Michelle Rivera. I am part of the outreach and communications team for the Valley Air District. I know we gave you a little bit of pointers of some of the work that we've been doing earlier in this meeting, but just wanted to give you a little bit more details. Some of the outreach that we've been doing on social media, these are just screenshots of what we've been doing, just to give Linda a little bit of an update too. As you can see on the far right, you see the green and blue graphics of the air purifier program. So this one, if you guys see it out in the community, this is our valley-wide program. Again, like Jess said, it goes to the same webpage. It has the same phone number. Everyone goes to the same location. So you guys are going to get the same services. It's just, different pots of money, but it's the same program. So you can see that I posted that. This is on Nextdoor. So if anyone is on the Nextdoor app, this is what you guys are seeing. We also have done a little bit of outreach on the Healthy Air Living Kids Calendar, and it's just information about the scholarship that we do offer for students who participate and get featured in the calendar. Again, this program does offer a scholarship of $500 for the cover artist and $100 if they are featured in the calendar. And then just a quick update, we do periodically post updates on the forecast. So if you guys are seeing gusty winds or anything that's going on in your community, we do try to update you via social media just so you guys get that information. So this goes across most of our social media channels. So if you see it on Facebook, Instagram, we also are on Nextdoor, Threads. But if you guys know of any other channel or any other means that you guys think that you should be getting this information, let me know. We'll talk to our director and see, can we be on this channel? We want to be where you guys are. So a little bit more. If you guys see this graphic, this is the blue one. This is probably what you guys are most used to seeing out in your community. If you guys see this one, it says available for residents in Shafter. So this is the one that's really more tailored to your community. This is what I post or have been posting more frequently in Facebook groups. So if you guys are in Facebook groups, this is what you guys are seeing. Again, if you guys have recommendations of different groups that we can post in, I'm willing to take those recommendations. Feel free to email me, call me, or drop them in the chat. And then just so you guys know, some of the administrators of the Facebook groups don't let agencies necessarily post to the groups. So you might see some of those or some of these posts coming directly from me. From my personal account, I'm more than willing to do that just because I know that you guys want to see that outreach done in the community. So you won't necessarily see it coming from the Valley Air District. You'll see it coming from me. Again, you guys had recommended that we do outreach on our calendars from our last meeting that we had. So we did go out into your community. We did drop off some calendars to CSC members. We saw Dora when we were out there. We did drop off some calendars to the library. We also stopped by the Shafter Recreation and Park District, and we did some outreach at all of the schools listed here on the screen. One more for you guys. One of the other recommendations we had from a CSC member last meeting was to also drop off some no idling signs to the Shafter Recreation and Park District, which is what we did. We actually met with them late last month, and we did discuss what our Healthy Air Living program was, and we offered no idling signs to them. We also just got feedback from them, trying to figure out, where we can post more of these signs, how it would benefit the community. And what they did offer to us was that they would actually reach back out to us and let us know that once the new sports complex is completed in Shafter, that they would be more than willing to put them up around the park. So they'll be in touch with us, but of course, if you guys know of any more places, we are still working with schools. If we see that any of the schools have old or faded signs or they don't have them posted, we work with them to make sure that they're posted. And then just one last update, just so you guys can see a visual of it. This is the update that Sarah gave earlier. We have received a total of 1,197 applications for the Clean Air Rooms program. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Michelle. And it looks like Bianca reached out about getting some flyers in Shafter, and it looks like Maricela and Jessica thumbs up that. So I guess my question is, does thumbs up mean that you got Bianca covered and Annabelle
Yes.
covered?
Yes,
Great.
we have noted. Thank you, Diana, for
Great.
clarifying.
Thank you. Any other standing updates from the Air District before we move on to DPR? Okay. DPR.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Aniela from DPR. If it's okay, I'm going to share my screen. Make sure I get this right. Okay. Can everybody see that? Can everyone see my
Yes.
screen? Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm very excited for this announcement. On March 11th, we'd like to invite everyone here to preview Spray Days California, which is the new statewide pesticide application notification system. This demo is going to be at the Arvin Lamont Pesticide Subcommittee. I know it's Arvin Lamont, but it's for March for this meeting. It's going to be combo meeting for both Shafter and Arvin Lamont. So we're excited about that. And we're going to be demoing the final version of the system and answering any questions that you might have about the notification system as we prepare to launch it statewide. And so we're currently working on communication and outreach so that people who can't attend the meeting are aware of what's going on with the statewide notification system. And we'll share more details with you about the next steps. So I'm going to drop these two flyers in the chat and we'll share it with the Air District, share with all of you. And so you can let people know if to attend. And I'm just really excited. And it's like perfect that I'm announcing it for this meeting because we talk about all of the accomplishments. And I know that the idea for the notification system started here. So really looking forward to seeing you all there in about a month.
Thank you, Aniela. This is Diana. Any questions for Aniela from DPR?
I don't have a question, but I'd like to integrate this in the theme of Shafter once again being such a leader in this work in the community. Once again, this is something that started as a conversation in Shafter 6 years ago, probably way before 6 years ago, but at least through 617 6 years ago. And look what we get to do on my birthday. I'm just going to say it, March 11th, which I truly, truly mean. And I know you know that I'm serious about this, that know me is an incredible birthday present to get to be able to experience and see the hard work that you've all put together, that DPRs put into this, that community members have, that, you know, other agencies have in making this come to fruition. So thanks, everyone. It's such a great, you know, timing to celebrate this on the 5-year sort of implementation milestone.
This is Diana. Thank you, Jessica. I'm now going to pass it to Vanessa from our Harder & Company facilitation team for an update about taxes, which is everybody's favorite topic. Vanessa.
Thanks, Diana. Hi, everyone. This is Vanessa. Just reaching out to provide an update for folks who are eligible to receive tax documents who are in the stipend program. Those have been sent out via email. But we have received some messages about folks wanting to receive them via snail mail. So if you want to receive your tax documents in the mail, please let us know. You can either drop your name off in the chat right now, and we'll include that on a list of folks' names who will receive tax documents via snail mail later this week, or you can reach out to us either via email or via our phone number, and we will drop that contact information off in the chat right now. And we also have it in the final slide that we show before we conclude the meeting. So yeah, just wanted to share that and happy to answer any questions or respond to comments about that if folks have them.
This is Diana. So Vanessa, so far we have Annabelle would like to get hers hard copy in the mail and let us know if anybody else would. And you don't have to do it right now. You could also do it after the meeting or something. We just want you to be able to get your tax documents in whatever way is most easy and convenient for you. Thank you, Vanessa. Those are all of the standing updates that I know of, but I wanted to take a minute to open it up if there's any other groups that would like to do an update or anyone else who would like to do an update for the group.
Hi, how's it going? This is Julio with Kern County. Would this be a good opportunity just to put in a word or two?
Sure. This is Diana. Go for it, Julio.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, everybody. Very nice to speak with you all. I just had a quick update from the county regarding our project at Mexican Colony. So right now, the sidewalk and pedestrian project that we have going on there, we are at about 70% design. So the design of the project is coming along. And if everything continues on track, we should see board approval in March, which basically means that if everything falls into plan, we might start construction by fall of this year. So that's just an update that I have for Mexican Colony.
Julio,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. This is Jess from the Air District. I say this every time we talk about it, but I don't want it to get lost. As soon as you know, Julio, keep coming and let us know and reach out to the district. We want to create a little event, celebration, press event, whatever we need to get the good word out. Folks that live in the Colony area or just in Shafter have been involved in this process, I know want to be a part of whatever groundbreaking symbolic thing we can do together.
Will do. Thank you. I'll communicate that. Thank you very much, all.
This is Diana. Thank you, Julio. Would any other agencies or anyone from the public like to give any other updates to the group at this time? Okay. Then I think I'm going to go to our wrap up and next steps. I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see the screen that says next meeting? Great. So thank you all for being here and engaging in today's meeting. I think it was a really nice celebration and summary and some really good next steps about how to continue the work of making the Shafter area healthier and the air cleaner for everybody who lives there. As we reach the end of the time together, I want to share a couple of our next steps summarized on this slide. I think all of the stuff on this slide you heard earlier in the meeting, but just to have it summarized in one place. So as a reminder, we're switching to quarterly meetings. So there will be no CSC meeting in March or April. The next meeting will be in May, on May 12th, in person at the Shafter Theater, which is where we've been before. And actually, different than this slide, this slide says we'll start at 5. We would like to start at 4:30. We will have dinner for you just so that everybody has time to get food and to say hi to each other before we start the business part of the meeting, which, as Jessica said earlier, will be a lot of celebration and a lot of thank yous and stuff for all of the great work of the past 5 years, in addition to more updates about all of the progress that's been made. So mark your calendars for May 12th at 4:30 at the Shafter Theater. And the other thing, and again, Jessica already mentioned this as well, in the meantime, before May, there's going to be a pesticide subcommittee meeting on March 11th, and this is via Zoom at 4 p.m. And that's the one, everybody is welcome to attend, and that is where the Department of Pesticide Regulation is going to provide a lot of information about the spray days that we talked about a little bit earlier today, including a demonstration of the system. So everybody is welcome to attend the pesticide subcommittee meeting that's in March. Any questions about our next meetings? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you all. Great, so now I'm going to share my screen again for the action items tracker. As you know, Vanessa and I take notes during the meeting, mostly noting the things that that people say that they want to do and answers they want to get back to you or information that they want to share with you. And so we write these down in real time and then share them with you at the end to make sure that we summarized what you wanted in the right way. And so then at the beginning of our next meeting, as we did today, when Rocio shared them at the beginning, we'll share progress on the action items. So I'm going to read these to you, and then give you a chance to let us know if there's any edits or anything that we missed. So the first action item is before the May CSC meeting. Jessica invited everybody to reach out to at least 2 people to invite them to participate in one of the SERP grant programs. The next action item is the Air District is going to send CSC members outreach material for the SERP grant program if requested. These are the mini grants. Oh, sorry, no, these are the, maybe we should clarify that. This action item number 2 is for the program grants, and then action item number 3 is the Air District to reach out to CSC members with information about how to apply for the mini grants to support SERP outreach. So we'll clarify the distinction between action item 2 and 3. And then the last action item is for the Air District to send those general valley-wide flyers and or the Shafter specific ones to people who request them about, that's the information about the grants program. Are there any action items that we missed or anything on these that you want us to clarify or change? Let me make this smaller so you can see all of them at once. Stop sharing. If you think of any other action items or you're thinking about the action items and you want us to change how it is or add one, you could always reach out to Vanessa and me and we could add those and share them with the Air District. So now we're going to switch to public comments. I'm going to share my screen again. At this time, we'd like to open the floor to anybody who would like to, from the public, who would like to make a final comment. As a reminder, community member comments are important to this process to ensure the program is shaped by the community perspective. So we welcome anybody's comments or anybody's questions at this time. Feel free to unmute, feel free to raise your Zoom hand or put your question in the chat. As a reminder, if you're calling on the phone, press *9, and then it will unmute you and raise your Zoom hand. And Vanessa, are there any comments or questions in the YouTube Live?
This is Vanessa. There are no comments.
Let's stop sharing my screen so I could look at all of your lovely faces. So then with that, I'm going to pass it to Jessica to make some final closing remarks and wrap up our meeting for tonight.
Yes. Well, again, I don't think I can say it enough, but I'm going to say it at least one more time that it really took putting, this presentation together and taking a moment to really look back to see how far we've come. I've always felt this group has accomplished so much, but to be able to see it in sort of the succinct way we went through it today really feels good. And I just want to reaffirm with all the smiling faces from the Air District team you see on this face, with all of the, interest and support I hear from all of you, that we are here to keep going and that there's still a lot that we want to accomplish and a lot of SERP left to go. So that really is our focus for this year, and I'm just excited to kick it all off with you all. And so with that, have a good night. See, hopefully a lot of you March 11th to celebrate my birthday with a spray days, demonstration. Take care, everyone, and have a great night.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.